The Princess of Wales' Mother's Day photo is taken down as she is seen with Prince William. So what does all of this mean? PR expert David Johnson breaks it down.
It is amateur hour, and it's a PR disaster, not nightmare. It's a PR disaster right now.
The royal family steps out for Commonwealth Day as King Charles sends his heartfelt thanks. Editor-in-chief of True Royalty TV reveals what Queen Camilla told him of Charles's health.
So I have direct from the Queen that he is doing very well.
Plus, Meghan Markle opens up about being bullied during her pregnancies as Kate's uncle takes aim at the Sussexes. We've got that plus so much more in today's Royally Us. Hey everyone, I'm Christina and that's Christine. And yes, this is a huge week of royal news.
I have not been this busy since Prince Harry's book Spare came out. I cannot believe how much is going on, just how many news stories there are and how big it has blown up.
It is literally, I've never seen something snowball like this ever. But we are going to break it all down. Before we do, let's see what you have to say about last week's show. One user said it's more than questions. There are people who are saying all kinds of things as if they really know what's going on behind the scenes. It's true. I mean, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes because nobody's telling us. And then there's the arguments that why do we even need to know? It's none of our business. But so let's talk about it. Let's get into the news. So as we know, Princess Kate issued a public statement after speculation arose that her family's Mother's Day portrait was manipulated. She wrote on X, like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing. I wanted to express my apologies for any confusion the family photograph we shared yesterday caused. I hope everyone celebrating had a very happy Mother's Day. The message was signed with a C for Catherine, and her statement came one day after multiple news outlets were reportedly notified to remove the photo, which was shared by Prince William and his wife. As we know, the portrait was featured Kate and her children. Kensington Palace has reportedly refused to release the original unedited version. Now, this is according to the Daily Mail. Now, the Princess of Wales was pictured alongside Prince William leaving Windsor Castle. They were seen heading to Westminster Abbey for the annual Commonwealth Day service. She was not going to the Commonwealth Day service, but was in the car. We saw the back of her head. All right. So, Christine, like you said, you've been so busy breaking this down. So what does all of this mean? How did this even happen that this photo was posted? Because by anybody's eye, you can see that this was heavily manipulated.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I think it's really, like you said, it's a huge snowball of issues. Now, we know that this photo was a bit of a rush job. It was taken late last week, edited Friday night, edited Saturday morning, sent out to the press Saturday evening, basically, and then Sunday morning it was posted by Kensington Palace. So it was definitely a rush job. I have a feeling it was like a case of let's get a picture after school before the sun goes down. Quick. Prince William took the photos because obviously the Princess of Wales was in the photos. And then I can just sort of see this, like Prince William probably took 10 photos. Kate looks at the camera and is like, these are all terrible. I have to edit these all together. And then she goes into Photoshop and edits them. We know she is a photographer. She's taken several, lots of family photos before, but she is always admits to be, she's an amateur. She enjoys it as a hobby. Clearly she's not that skilled in Photoshop, but I think it was the rushed nature of this. I think Kate was just rushing to get a picture to the press officers. She probably said, okay, just send out this one. And because it was such a last minute thrown together thing, the press officers just sent it out, didn't really double check or question it or anything like that. And then of course, all these photo editors, the same thing. There's so much trust between them in the palace. They just sent it out. And now it's turned into this whole thing. Now, why Kate felt she had to rush to get this photo out, why, all of these things unraveled the way they did, that's part of this larger story. It's just the biggest snowball like I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they're not releasing the unedited, or slap a filter on it. Like, it's interesting that they're not releasing the unedited picture, because now there's like these theories going around that the photo that she used was her on the cover of British Vogue from a number of years ago. I saw that going around, that they used like her image and like kind of, photoshopped her face on that one. So at this point, there's just so many questions. And, there have been some arguments being like, this is the timeline the palace gave. They said that she was not going to be available until the end of March. But the way that they have been handling this is just all wrong. It really is, because you're just letting people kind of create this narrative, and you're just not doing anything to help yourself.
Yeah, I think Kensington Palace, the thing to really note is that no one at Kensington Palace is concerned. None of the press, the actual members of the press, the Royal Rota, they aren't concerned. They're not talking about conspiracy theories. Those really wild conspiracy theories only exist on social media. They don't exist out in the real world. Please go get some fresh air if you're too far down that rabbit hole.
No, and this leads into our conversation that we had with David Johnson. He is a PR expert. He's been on the show before, and he explained how this is turning into a PR nightmare and what they need to do going forward. So take a look. There have been a ton of headlines about the Princess of Wales and this Mother's Day photo that was pulled from the AP. I mean, have you ever seen the AP pull an image like this before? And are you surprised that they complied?
I've never seen them do it before. This is really unique and unusual. And usually it's something that a PR team vets before they allow something like that to be posted. Am I surprised that they complied? No, because if they hadn't complied with doing it, it would be an even bigger story. But the problem is now they still haven't produced Catherine. And that's really going to be the only thing that can dispel it. Because you have rumors swirling around that she's not well, that the illness is worse than people are saying. So the more that we talk about this, how did it happen? What happened? Until we hear from her directly or an official statement that really clarifies what's going on, we're going to be talking about it. But this was a major enforced PR blunder by the royal family.
Are you surprised that this has escalated so quickly and this has turned into, I would say, probably a PR nightmare at this point? And they've done this for so many years. The fact that they still don't know how to navigate these situations seems so amateur to me.
It is amateur hour. And it's a PR disaster, not nightmare. It's a PR disaster right now. Because as I said, the royal family's shorthanded. And it's almost like people, I would say, this seems like an internal struggle almost with some people who are not happy with King Charles, sidelining some of the royals, making less of the royals, working royals, almost like they're getting back and they're hammering him at a time when the royal family is shorthanded to say, look, all these reforms that King Charles talked about, not needing as many royals out there, this is not true. This is proof of it.
What do they do next in regards to the Princess of Wales? Like we said, they did give us this timeline and they keep sticking to it, but there's just so many theories and conspiracy theories going on. I just feel like you said, if she comes forward, does a recorded message, this kind of puts this to bed. Why don't we think that they're doing that? And is that the move that they should take?
The royal family has always guarded their privacy, especially when it concerns health. We're seeing this. And the problem is right now, you have leading voices, especially on the Labour side over in the UK, demanding some accountability about their health. And it's almost like they're pushing down, they're refusing to go into the 21st century as far as it. We know, like here in the United States, presidents always, have their annual physicals, they release their health, that they go in, we have the most intimate details of any kind of surgery or procedure they have. The royal family's not doing that. What they need to do is move up to the 21st century, release statements on what's going on, and put people at ease. The longer they don't, they do look like an outdated institution, as some are saying, and they're raising more problems for themselves than they're solving.
Yeah, I mean, but like you said, it's just, it's snowballed into this thing. But people are paying attention on social media. And like David said, you have to kind of come into the 21st century. You have to modernize a little bit more. You can't keep everybody in the dark like you used to, as much as is really none of our business when it comes to somebody's health. But when it just has turned into something so much bigger than what it was supposed to be, you kind of got to get a handle on it.
100%. I think we could talk about this particular story the whole show, and I just completely agree with you.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, King Charles did thank people across the world for their good wishes amid his cancer treatment. He recorded a special message as representatives from 56 nations gathered in London on the eve of Commonwealth Day. He said in an address that was played at the service, "I have been most deeply touched by your wonderfully kind and thoughtful good wishes for my health, and in return can only continue to serve you the best of my ability throughout the Commonwealth." The Prince of Wales joined Queen Camilla and other members of the royal family at Westminster Abbey for the service, and it began with the congregation singing "God Save the King," then Queen Camilla and Prince William leading the royals in procession side by side. Also, kind of circling back to Kate, it's like, why can't we get like just a video message too? Like just to shut us all up, at this point. But it kind of leads to having Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace having two different PR teams as well. And it seems like just nobody's on the same page. But it is great to see that the king is doing well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that video of King Charles looking at the get well soon cards, that was really when we first started to notice that there's a huge difference between the way that King Charles's office is handling his treatment and recovery versus how the Princess of Wales is handling hers. And now the differences are just becoming more and more stark. I think especially at this event, which is usually the whole royal family comes out. Kate's in a great, coat and hat, and it's a really, really, really nice event every year. They both weren't there, King Charles and the Princess of Wales, but we still had the king there in some capacity.
Mm-hmm. Right. And, it seems to be business as usual for the Prince of Wales. He was also seen at an Earthshot event, I believe. So he's just kind of, rolling right along. So, but, let's break down the royal rules. And we recently spoke to Royalty TV editor-in-chief Nick Bullen, who gave us an update on the king and how the queen are doing direct from the queen's mouth. So take a look. How have you heard how the king has been faring during his treatment and things like that?
So I have direct from the Queen that he is doing very well. We are making a documentary with Queen Camilla at the moment that'll be coming out later this year. And we were filming with her recently, and she was very open when asked about the king. She was, and this is in private with my production team. She was just saying, he's great, he's doing well, he's, fulfilling all his official duties. As we saw, he met with the Prime Minister, he's doing his red boxes. I know he's got a big meeting coming up with the King's Foundation. He's involved in that meeting. So behind the scenes, he's still very active. And he also made a decision that he wanted to be seen. So if you notice, whenever he's going between the palaces, when he's going for treatment and coming back from treatment, he's in that big state Rolls Royce with the huge glass windows and the glass roof because he wants people to see him. And I'm told that came directly from him. He said, I need to be seen. So although he's not doing big public events and public duties, he is making sure he's seen. And we're all being told, and I know for a fact, that behind the scenes, he is still doing all the jobs of king and head of state.
That's great. And, how is Queen Camilla doing then, as she's, I know that she's taking a break from some royal duties, but how is she doing as well?
So the Queen is on great form. I say we've been filming with her quite a bit over the last few weeks and during this whole period, and she has been sensational. She's been super positive, super energetic. This lady is 76 and she is taking on a lot at the moment. She's stepping in for the king. She is the face of the royal family, particularly with the Princess of Wales not being around at the moment. And if you notice, she is front and center at everything. So she's on great form. She's been great with our team. She's been great with all the people she's been meeting. And this holiday that she's on now had been planned for months. If you look at her diary, she tends to have a week's holiday around now to go and get a bit of sun. We all feel it, don't we? Particularly living in the UK, that you need to escape to the sun. You need a bit of heat on your back after that those long, dark months. So this was always planned. And I think that was unfortunate. Some of the British press sort of went, oh, she's taking a break. She's exhausted. She's had to take a break away. Absolutely not true. She is. This was a planned holiday, been planned for months, and it's a holiday she does pretty well every year at this time of year.
But yes, it seems like they are all doing really well. Queen Camilla is filming a documentary for True Royalty TV, so that'll be something that's really exciting. So yeah, everybody's in good spirits on that side.
Yeah, I think Queen Camilla is doing a great job of just sort of keeping everyone's spirits up. Her attitude, I think, is reassuring a lot of people that everything is going to be okay.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, let's spill the royal tea. And this was also a big story this week. Charles Spencer is opening up about his experiences of being sexually and mentally abused during his time as a student at the UK school Maidwell Hall. After initially going to the same day school as Princess Diana, Charles began attending Maidwell Hall at the age of 8. He said in an interview with the Today Show, "This is not a bunch of mid-teen, late-teen kids going through a rough school. This is children being sexually, physically, and emotionally abused on a daily basis." He went on to describe the school's headmaster as a pedophile and a sadist who staffed the school with people who were going along with what he was doing or were going to be mute about it. He claimed that the abuse he and others suffered included being beaten with cricket boots and canes. One alleged abuser was a young female staff member who looked after Charles and other students. He said she would come around to my bed when others were asleep and kiss me, French kiss for ages. If I was 17, 18, it would be a different thing, but I was 11 and it was confusing. Now, he opened up about this in his new book that is out right now, but this was definitely a shocking revelation. And he said that he didn't tell his therapist this until he was in his 40s because he just, never wanted to open up about it. And it's just, it's a shocking revelation.
It's so difficult to hear. I know that especially during that that time period, sort of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, private schools really went through a very difficult time. I don't even want to say difficult time. The students at these private schools went through a really difficult time where there was a lot of mistreatment, a lot of really unhealthy, terrible things going on. And I'm glad that they're being brought to light. I think that this just creates reform and sort of improves the lives of children moving forward. I do want to note that the age of consent in the UK is 16, probably was 16 at that time. I know he says if I was 17, 18, it would be different. And I think some people reading that might think, no, that's still pretty bad. But the age of consent in the UK is 16. So I think Charles Spencer is sort of saying, at that point he would have been old enough, maybe it would have been different. It's still quite young. And it's just a terrible, terrible thing to happen to children. I mean, they're children.
They really, I know, it's disgusting. It really is. That's what it comes down to. And, that hopefully, him opening up about it, maybe more people will feel comfortable coming forward. And, but I'm sure it took a lot for him to kind of put his experiences on paper and being so open about it. So, totally shifting gears. James Middleton is actually putting pen to paper in memory of his late dog, Ella. I'm excited about this, who he credited as his strength while struggling with depression. Kate Middleton's younger brother announced that he has written a memoir, Meet Ella, the dog who saved my life, which will be published on September 26th. He said, "Now, as many of you know, I credit Ella to saving my life when I was eclipsed with clinical depression, and she passed away just over a year ago. I was heartbroken. We were inseparable for 15 years, so I decided to share her journey through this book." So, he announced in January of 2023 that she died following a short illness. And we know he used to post her on social media all the time. And he said that she really did pull him out of this dark depression. So happy, again, that he is putting his experiences on paper, because I'm sure this will also help a lot of people.
Yeah, I love how much he's done so much work with dogs as therapy, just sort of promoting this idea that dogs can be such a resource for your mental health. I know that my dog is so special to me, and the walks that I take with him really make a difference in my day. And I hope in vain that we might get some royal tidbits out of this, but I think that this is really going to be a conversation about James's relationship with Ella and how dogs and how animals and pets can really help you through dark times.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are helping a lot of people through dark times as well. And they visited Uvalde, Texas to surprise the family of school shooting victim Irma Garcia for her sister Claudia Martinez's birthday. Now, Garcia worked as a teacher for 23 years at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde. And on May 24th, 2022, she was one of the 21 people killed when an 18-year-old gunman walked into the school and opened fire, killed 2 teachers and 19 students. According to Martinez on Twitter, the royal couple have kept in touch with Garcia's family since the tragic shooting, and he also shared on the platform that the cake was a surprise for his mother. He also, in a written statement, told CNN, it was such a beautiful experience. They're so nice and compassionate, very down to earth, humble people. It was kind of by surprise. Meghan had called my mom one random day and dropped the news on us not too long ago that she was coming to visit the kids. And of course, we got so excited. I mean, I would imagine I'd be like frantically cleaning, like Meghan and Harry are coming. I got to make sure this house looks pristine.
Out on a cleaner, you hire someone to come in for that one. If you catch the photos on social media, everyone looks so happy. You can tell that this visit has just brought so much joy, and everyone was really, really excited and happy to have them there. It was really cool it was such a surprise. The photos popped up on social media, and you can just see the joy on everyone's faces.
No, this is what we want to see from Harry and Meghan, kind of giving back to the community. And in addition to all of this, Meghan was also at South by Southwest. She participated in the opening day panel, Breaking Barriers, Shaping Narratives, How Women Lead On and Off the Screen, while discussing how traumatizing social media can be for new mothers. As we know, she has 2 children, and she explained that having someone to lean on can help a new mom be less vulnerable to bullying online. She said, my husband is such a hands-on dad and such a supporter of me and my family that I don't take for granted. Now, she touched upon the vitriol she dealt with on social media when she was pregnant with both of her children. She said, it's not catty, it's cruel. And why you would do that, certainly when you're pregnant with a newborn, we all know as moms, it's such a tender and sacred time. She expressed sadness over how disturbing that she was getting so much hate from women, and noting that she cannot make sense of that as a woman herself. I can't either. I mean, I don't deal with hate like that on social media, and I'm sure a lot of people can't really relate unless you're, on such a huge platform like she is. And, Harry has talked about it before, how, she was suicidal at one point too. And I'm sure that this really took an effect on her mental health.
Yeah, I hope that by speaking out, she is at a place that she can, I don't want to say manage it, but I think that she's at peace in a sense that those people are, it's disturbing, and it almost feels like those people are unwell. And I hope that Meghan is sort of at a place that she can acknowledge that it's not about her, and that vitriol is, although it's such a complicated conversation, but it's unbelievable. If you do, please don't ever go look for those comments, because they're horrible and they're so full of hate, and clicking on them only gives them a little bit more views and sort of pushes them up on that algorithm. But I do think that, Meghan has spoken out and Harry's spoken out about social media reform and media reform, and this is really part of it. We all have a right to free speech, and we all have a right to say what we want to say, but there is a limit between expressing yourself and really truly being just horrible and hateful and saying things that are just inappropriate.
No, you're so right. And it's an ugly social media world out there. It really is. And, she really needed to take a step back for her mental health, and that's what she did. All right. Yeah. Well, Princess Kate, the Princess of Wales's uncle, Gary Goldsmith, has shared his thoughts on Meghan's royal impact during his first few days in the UK's celebrity Big Brother house. I wonder how the royal family is really feeling about this one. So he, like we said, he's on Celebrity Big Brother. He said it didn't take long for him to bring up his royal relatives after kicking off his reality TV journey. He praised Kate and her husband, Prince William, as the saviors of the royal family. He added that he thinks King Charles has done a spectacular job since assuming the throne. And when the conversation turned to Meghan and Prince Harry, he did not hold back. He said, I have the opinion that Harry was really, really, really loved, massively loved. And when they were a threesome, so Kate, William, and Harry, they were really comfortable together, loved. And then suddenly there's an extra dynamic that comes in, puts a stick in the spokes, and creates so much drama that I don't generally think is there, and rewrote the history and said how unhappy he was. And I just don't think that's fair. He said, and then you can't throw your family under a bus in such a dramatic style and then write books about it and expect to be invited around Christmas. He wouldn't really go into Kate's health issues after being questioned about it. He said, because she doesn't want to talk about it, the last thing I'm going to do is talk about it. There is a kind of code or etiquette. If it's announced, I'll give you an opinion. Well, at least he was mum on that.
Listen, the press officers at Kensington Palace this week are not having a good time. Although Gary Goldsmith, he didn't say anything that was too personal. He didn't really give too much away. And really, the Middleton family has sort of distanced themselves from him as much as possible. So what he says does not really reflect reality or what's really going on with the Princess of Wales and her family. But it's still, it's not good that these stories are making headline news. I mean, there were so many memes that popped up about this, and so I'm sure that Kensington Palace is just, they're having a rough week.
Yeah, would not want to be them right now. Oh, well, Christine, that was a week. I mean, there was a lot to get to. I'm sure you all have a lot of opinions on what happened this past week. So please let us know in the comments your thoughts on how Kensington Palace handled this Mother's Day photo that will now live in the royal history books for a very long time. So, Christine, thank you so much for running it down, as always.
I don't know if this was a fun week. It was
right.
fun to do the show, but
we're kind of in the middle here. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm sure we'll continue to have a lot to talk about as the weeks go on. So keep commenting, keep subscribing, and we'll see you next week. For more news content and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.